got a little past 6 o'clock, might get started on time. I'm sure Mr. Sanders will be here in a minute. I'll start out by asking David Clark to say a word for us.
Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you so much for your love and for your blessings. We're thankful, Father, for this opportunity of gathering together these citizens of our county. And I pray, Father, you open our hearts and our minds to understand the direction that you give in our county. Help us to make decisions that would honor and glorify you. Is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So we're going to bring the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the minutes from October 2nd, 2017.
I have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Second item is the monthly financial report. Should have a copy in your packet. Questions related to the financial report?
This is what it is. But does it need an approval?
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge.
Okay, I'd like to offer a motion to approve it. Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the financial report. Any further questions? Not all those in favor, signify by raising the right hand. Thank you. Third item on the agenda is sheriff's budget update. The sheriff's not going to be with us again, but as I mentioned last month, he is on schedule to meet the projections. And so hopefully everything will continue and we'll be in good shape for a week.
Well, I guess I should have asked this question during the discussion, but E911, they're going to take going to next year's budget for that shortfall we got here.
Well, we gotta pay payroll, we gotta pay the bills, so yeah, pretty much. Any other questions? No action required there, so we'll move right on. The next couple items is rezones, and the required public hearing is tonight. Before we get started with that, is there anyone who'd like to sign up to speak on behalf of either one of these public hearings as rezone requests? Okay, so I'll read it.
I don't quite know how the process works, but we are here about rezoning, so.
Okay, well, which one would you like?
Let's see. There was a application from Code East
Okay,
LLC.
and would you like to speak on behalf of that rezone request, or you just here, you just interested in knowing what's happening? Or you may be.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, go ahead and sign up, and if you choose not to, then that's
Okay,
fine.
perfect, thank you.
And while you're doing that, I'll read the guidelines. The hearings are being recorded. Those wishing to speak shall sign up prior to the meeting, or prior to the hearing. Again, right now is the time to do that. We'll read the rezone request under consideration and the zoning board's recommendation. Those signed up to speak will be allowed to speak. Always begin with the applicant if they so choose. Speakers must state the name and address before speaking. Each speaker will be allotted 5 minutes in their initial statements and 5 minutes by the applicant if needed for rebuttal. All speakers will speak on the merits of the hearing and will refrain from speaking on other zoning issues or attacking other speakers. Violations will be ruled out of order. Repeat violations will be disqualified from speaking. Again, I'd like to encourage you to address the board. And we'll decide tonight whether we'll take action on these tonight or postpone it for a later date not to exceed 60 days. Again, anybody else would like to sign up to speak on behalf of either one of these rezone requests? That being the case, the first one is Lewis Sanders. Lewis has submitted an application for rezone tax map 082 parcel located in McWhorter Road near Stevens Salem Road from general agricultural A2 to rural residential AR. And there's no one signed up to speak on behalf of this rezone request.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor, signify by raising the right hand. Thank you. Item number 5, the second rezone request is Code East LLC has submitted an application to rezone tax map 020, parcel 215 located at Williams and Curly Road from general agricultural A2 to single-family residential R1. This one came before us back in September and was deferred to a later date. I think Adam Swan is here, is the applicant, and I think there's been some intervention from the health department, and I think we got all that worked out. I think as of today, they sent one
Yes,
more
sir.
request.
And I've got a copy of it if you need it.
Okay, I think we've already got one.
Okay. I'm Adam Swan, 1041 Founders Lake Drive, Athens. I think we've tried to address some of the concerns through Amy, working with Amy, as far as private drives. The lots we had private drives off of, we've now made them just large lots. There'll be a single lot. Those driveways that will be off for those lots will be paved or concreted, but it'll be on that individual's lot with no other property owners using that private drive, if that makes sense.
All private access easements have been eliminated.
Correct, yes, sir. The roads that will be developed developed under Oglethorpe County ordinance. I think our engineering plans now show that. And is there any further questions? I know we reduced the lot count, obviously, with combined some. So we've got less lots than we had back in September.
This is you right here.
No.
No, I don't think that's
Down in the west. Yeah.
Some of the homeowners was here last meeting in September, and I met with them outside. The ones that were here, I got contact information with emails and everything, and I forwarded the updated plans to them, and they've got my number and email if they had any concerns.
I believe the only concern we heard from a homeowner last time was from the private access easement and the concern that the homeowner association may be responsible for the roads, and obviously that's been alleviated.
Yes, sir. And I mean, all the homes will meet the existing covenants that are in the subdivision, so.
How much did you reduce your lot size? I mean, how many lots did you drop?
It's 10.
Was it 10?
You start at 36, and based on the health department letter, it's down to
Okay.
36.
So we have one other person to speak. Is there any questions for Adam while he's here? We can all ask him if something comes up.
No. And I don't know if y'all got I got a letter from Piedmont too, which environmental health required as far as water for the lot, so.
Yeah, we don't need that tonight.
Okay.
We should handle it. Ma'am, Janet Martin,
Yeah.
do you have questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I?
Come on, yeah, come on.
Sorry. I guess my husband and I are here, we're abutters on the west side.
Would you state your name and
Yes,
address,
sir.
please?
I'm Janet Martin, and I live in Winterville on the, as a butter on the west side of the development. We have concerns as a butters on that particular side of the loop because of wetland issues on our property and drainage concerns from construction of the lots on the west side of that land. So the lots that we're talking about are, I believe, I'm not sure I have maps that are current because I got them from Amy prior to the last meeting, and it sounds like things have changed a little bit. These are the lots that we were concerned about because they abut our land, and I don't know how that fits with your maps now, but it would be these lots here. on the west side. So there's land there that drains directly into our wetlands, which are a great deal of our property along that abutting side. So any disturbance of the land for those lots for building will create problems in our wetlands. So we just want to bring that up in case nobody has checked out the land that abuts on that side. If that's something that needs to happen, that's certainly something we can facilitate. But we have a large wetland area there, and it drains right into a creek that runs along the back side of the property, which would be along this side of the land here. There's a creek that runs here, so our abutting property here has the creek as one of the margins of our property, and all of this is wetlands right over here. So
This is your property here.
doesn't go around that far. Our property is kind of, sorry, I'm not really a great artist here, but our property basically runs like that. Runs to Livingston Curve here, so it's a rectangle. Ms. Rawson, who just walked in, owns this corner. We own about like that. So a lot of this lot will drain into our land. This is wetlands here. All of it. And this creek is here.
Now, would it not already be draining that land?
Yeah, but it's not construction property.
Yeah, you're
This
worried
is-
about.
This is woods here. Right now, it's all forest and undeveloped land right there.
You're concerned about settlement.
I'm concerned about settlement, yeah. Sediment and any other problems that come from having that area disturbed, yeah. Right now, it's owned agricultural. It's really not, I mean, anything that, that we have anything to do with those lots, except that they're there and they're a buffer for the wetlands, for, wildlife and forest, and we would prefer not to have that disturbed, for sure. So, but I think that it's a problem for drainage, yes, sediment coming through. Yeah, and it's been a problem in the past with that same development. So that's, I guess, what I wanted to bring up, and I think I don't know, am I done? That's just the concern that we have is conservation issues. Our land is under conservation zoning there, and we want to be sure that that land is kept the way it is, that we're not suffering consequences from building next door. All right, thank you.
Adam, would you like to address that at all?
Can I see which parcel?
Yes, we're talking about, so again, these maps may not be the new ones, but this is the west side.
Okay.
So off Ashland Ford.
This area here
These.
is this.
In fact,
Right there. And
so these have markings holes into the areas in the back,
Yeah.
and we've got to do more studies on those lots. It's gonna be built, those may end up being just one big lot there, one big lot there, or they may just be unbuilt altogether. But we have to have what's it, a level 4 soil. But if any construction would take place, obviously we would try to control any sediment. I mean, we'd have to, especially if there's wetlands down there. We wouldn't be able to.
So I guess, I don't know if I'm just talking whatever, but if we're not building there, why does it not become zoned?
It's part of the parent parcel.
Right, so it needs to split off.
We can't split it without it going through this process. And she's asking why does this, because I think Kelly, there's lots that are on the back of Ashland.
We'll put this up on the map.
Our property is.
Yeah.
Well, or the plat.
Ain't that pile of,
Make any progress over there?
what is this?
Do you want, I can outline what the wetlands protection criteria is from our ordinance, if that's helpful, to sort of address some of those concerns. Not sure about procedure across talking.
Yeah, I don't know if that's appropriate, but I guess I need to ask the question is, did Ms. Martin bring up anything here tonight that makes you think that this should not go forward? I mean, obviously, there's some concerns that she has. I think you can address them, Randy.
Yes, sir.
between you and Alex. But I don't know if that meeting needs to take place in this forum right here. So I'll ask the question again, does anybody see anything, that makes you think this ought to be postponed?
Everybody spoke?
Yeah.
All of these private access on the exact lots comes off of the cul-de-sac.
What's your question, George?
So, all of these private easements, which is driveways, come off cul-de-sacs, right?
Well, all the driveways will, but there's no private access either. Driveways aren't private, aren't accessible to the public.
Excuse me, is there time for another speaker regarding the same?
Well, the rules pretty much say that you gotta sign up prior to the event.
Okay, I apologize for being late. I thought it was at the courthouse. I went to the wrong building.
Well, we'll let you speak, certainly want you.
Just for a
we'll
minute.
Make sure you get an opportunity to say what's on your mind, come on up.
Okay.
Before you do that though, fill this out right here.
Thank you. Real quick, I'm a neighbor of hers. My property is also abutting the wetland there.
Would you speak, say your name and address?
I'm sorry,
please?
Hollis Rawson, 375 Cherokee Lane, which is the property next door to Ms. Martin's, also abutting the wetland. I've lived there for about 15 years now, and when this development first started, there was an issue with code violations. We ended up calling the code enforcement officer for the area, Byron Fleeman, who I don't believe works there anymore. I did try to get records of all of this, but they didn't keep the records. But I'm just concerned because he didn't have silt barrier fences up to begin with, and there was still a lot of runoff into the wetlands. And the code enforcement officer came out and cited him for not having the silt fences up, made him stop the development, and put a sediment monitor, some kind of little contraption at the stream to monitor it. And then he ended up, getting the silt barriers put up and resuming construction. But I just wanted to bring that up as a concern that to me, is a basic rule of doing a development is he put the silt barriers up, and he didn't do that. And not only did he not do it, but he didn't correct it until he was cited by the county government. So I just wanted to bring that up just as a concern that kind of stuff is monitored closely if this does come through.
Well, just for clarification purposes, you do know this property's changed hands, this is not the original development.
It's not the same developer? Okay, I apologize for that then. I thought that it was, but I don't know how it's.
You can,
So now, whenever we go in to develop a property, like this is being considered a common development,
Mhm.
but on the other couple lots we've already built on, we have to file permits with EPD,
Mhm.
because Oglethorpe County is not their own issuing authority, so they don't have a erosion and sediment control specialist that goes around and checks and makes sure that builders and developers are doing what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
So we have to file, like in this development, we'll file for a common permit, it'll be a primary permittee, and it'll be filed with the EPD, they'll review it, and if we don't get any comments back, within 14 days, we're able to proceed. Now, in that permit process, we have to submit erosion and sediment control plans that show where the silt fence is going and everything, and the EPD actually comes out and looks at it.
Is that different than 15 years ago? Is it different?
I don't think they were, there was a lot going on 15 years ago,
Mhm.
and I don't think they were
Was it
looking at it as
closely
closely.
monitored?
But I can tell you now, they are looking at it very closely.
15 years ago, I'll tell you that the county did their own monitoring, and, so they were the issuing authority for the EPD permit.
Oh, okay.
But it's since changed, and EPD does the actual monitoring themselves.
Okay.
You got your permit option from them, and they get the full $80 per acre. Well, they used to give us 40, and we did all the work.
Right.
So that has changed. So EPD will be the issuing authority and the monitoring.
And even on individual home sites, let's say if another builder builds on one of those lots,
Mhm.
they'll have to file for a tertiary permit. And so they have to file
Yeah,
a
another
separate permit,
section.
yes. Because this will be erosion sediment control for the common development.
Mhm.
And then when we build on each lot, we'll have to show erosion sediment control for each individual lot. So, and then they do check it now, believe me, because I've had phone calls of, hey, one of the silt fences down, you need to address this within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, I appreciate that, you didn't understand my concerns.
No, I
Yeah.
definitely do it, believe me, we don't
And
impact
let
anybody.
me encourage both of the speakers to talk to Adam. He's been very open, been, trying to engage with the neighbors and
Mhm.
make sure he addresses their concerns, so, that'd be certainly a good place for you to go.
Okay. Thank you for letting me speak.
Well,
All for motion, we approve this plan.
Second.
got a motion and a second to approve this rezone request. Any further comments or questions? Not all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Next item is a plat approval for the same development, preliminary plat. They, Cody East LLC submitted preliminary plat for approval for Pine Ridge Phase 4. And this will complete this whole development. It's been done in a number of phases and sections and parts and pieces, and hopefully that's one of the things we're going to address going forward with subdivision ordinance. But as mentioned, the health department did send one letter today and asked Adam to consolidate one more or 4 more lots into one. So we would need a conditional approval on this preliminary plat that would indicate that he's still under the authority or recommendations or requirements of the health department. So conditional approval contingent on the requirements still forthcoming from the health department.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, is there discussion? Not all those in favor signify by raising the right hand. Thank you. Board appointments, for the zoning board, you have a number of applications in your packet, and I would, not, you don't have to, well, some of these via email.
If anybody's here from Pine Ridge, wanting to contact information, I would have it outside.
With that, you have a few to choose from.
Make a motion that Janet Gill be nominated to serve on the zoning board.
Second.
Got a nomination and a second for Janet. We'll take care of both of these at one time. Was any discussion related to that? We'll just do them one at a time.
You have the more candidates.
Yeah, I think they were all sent to you in your, in the stuff that Amy sent to you.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember seeing it, but I'll look at it, see if I passed over it.
Did I miss one? Did I miss one with email? With the candidates. Did you get it? You got it? Did you get it?
It was a link to get to it. A link in the email.
Morgan Robinson was the other nominee.
I've got a second nomination for Morgan Robinson.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second for Janet Hill and Morgan Robinson.
Move that we approve Morgan Robinson.
Motion and a
I
second.
got two motions on that. You got two motions out there, haven't you? Now.
Well, we can have them both at the same time, they're all both on the same board appointment.
Okay.
So, okay, we got, is there any other nominations? Being none, is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. I had two recommendations. First of all, Mr. Nat Hansford is coming off of the Economic Development Authority, and I have two people that I would propose to you to replace, to fill that one position and replace a vacant position, and those are John Robertson and Nick Smith. And they both agreed to serve if approved by this board.
We're only seeking one.
We're seeking both, seeking two. You can leave one of them out if you want to, but we're seeking two.
Well, I move that we approve the two that are seeking the Economic Development Board.
Second.
And Ralph, Deke said to make sure you understood that he's not seeking a position on the zoning board.
He did, he failed.
I lost that. All right. So I got a motion, and David, you get a second? I got a motion and a second. Is there discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Before we move on, I do appreciate Mr. Nat Hansford's participation. He's been really beneficial to that Economic Development Authority. All right, that concludes our agenda with the exception of the public comment session. There's 3 minutes per participant, and no discussion from the board. We just take them into order as you volunteer.
I'll go. What is my 3 minutes? As y'all know, I can talk.
How about standing up there in front of me?
I want to see y'all. I want to, if it's okay. I want to see you guys. I'm Stephen Bray. I'm from the Arlesville area. I'm here to talk about HB 146. A little about me. I'm a professional firefighter. I work in Rockdale County. It's my life. I love it. I know you guys.
146, that's the Chancery Chair.
Yes, sir. It is. It is. I know y'all have been probably bombarded with this. I felt as a citizen and as it being my livelihood and being a participant on the volunteer department to come and just give y'all my opinion on it. I don't think I have to educate you guys on it. A little background, I've been about this bill since it's the thought of it. I've been in the Capitol and stood out there and had the door shut in my face and have worked with people and collected data. As a professional, this is a blessing. I've lost the past 3 years 3 friends to cancer, and they didn't dip, they didn't smoke, they were the epitome of health. The epitome of health, I'm not kidding. I'm not, I did. I mean, you know, I get my just desserts in the end, but we as volunteer departments would kind of hit a dead end. Mr. Pitter has given us the routes we need to address, and I appreciate that. I mean, that's a good thing, but at the end of the day, I think it comes on accountability. I will say this about the bill, it's been put into place, but I think there should have been a little more thought on where the money was going to come from. Because when people think firefighters, I think City of Atlanta, Rockdale County, Metro guys that are constantly exposed. But I'm going to tell you, I fought fire here since I was 16 years old, and unfortunately I'm 39. I fought the same kind of fires here, y'all. These dangerous things are in your house, your house, your house, your house, your house, your house, and your house. We're exposed to it. A little more added to that, we're exposed to it in turnout gear that's expired. Turnout gear, in my opinion, that's under par. I appreciate the avenues you've given us to research this and get some better answers, and I think the lady on Facebook, God forbid me for saying anything about Facebook, but she contacted them, and I hope she got some good answers. I've been considering to do the same thing myself, but y'all, I love this county. I was born and raised here. I moved away, I came back. I'm a veteran. I've fought in another land, and I came back here and I kissed the ground because of our small town, where I know, most of y'all know me. Y'all's opinion can vary, but, I'm here, I chose to live here, and even if I wasn't involved with the fire service, I think us as a community finding a way it benefits all of us. It makes people want to take the risk to go into any one of y'all's house, any one of y'all's house, to save a life. I'm fortunate enough, I've experienced saving a life from a fire. It's amazing. It's amazing. And as firemen, all we're asking is that if that rare chance that it just takes one time to get exposed to the right thing. If we just, God forbid, one of y'all's sons, one of y'all's daughters, family members, got cancer from risking their life, I think there's somewhere in this county we can pull the funds to take care of our own. I mean, I don't care what Athens does. I don't care what any other county surrounding us does. I care what Oglethorpe County does. So, but I'm just here to ask, please help. If y'all can help us find a better avenue to find the funds, let's all be proactive. Let's take care of each other like we've always done. That's all I've got. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes, sir.
You got real close to 3 minutes, by the way.
Well, I like to
planned it
talk.
that way,
I like to talk.
Next.
Good evening, my name is Terry Anthony, for those of you who do not already know me. I come before you tonight as a citizen, a taxpayer, and a property owner, and a business leader of this county. My goal is to inform you of the potential implications of noncompliance of House Bill 146 as it relates to the requirements for cancer and disability insurance for the firefighters of our county. I believe we're all in agreement that we as a county would like to comply. We just have not figured out how yet. Since that is an unknown at this point, I'm going to focus on what can possibly happen if we don't comply from a property insurance standpoint. This information is not company specific. It applies to all insurance companies. I'm not here on behalf of Georgia Farm Bureau. I'm here as a member of the insurance industry. If the state decides to take action for noncompliance and the ISO rating in our entire county becomes a protection class 10, it will have a significant impact on each and every taxpayer that has a home, a storage building, a garage, a shop, farm structures. Several of our local fire departments have worked very hard through collaborative efforts to better their rating with ISO. All of that hard work and effort will be of no use or value if we are re-rated to a protection class 10 across this county. For those citizens that are served by a fire department with a protection class 9 rating currently, such as Devil's Pond, Glade, Bottlemath, Pleasant Hill, Salem, Sandy Cross, Vesta, Wesley Chapel, and Wolfskin, the increases could be as much as 30 to 40% of what you are currently paying for your insurance. I ask everyone in this room who has a home, how are you going to pay for that increase? For those citizens that are served by a fire department with a protection class 6 rating, such as Lexington or Crawford, those increases could be as much as 80 to 90% of what you pay now. Again, I'm going to ask you, as a property owner, homeowner, citizen, how are you going to pay for those increases? And for those citizens that are lucky enough to be served by a protection class 3 or 4 rating, such as Arnoldsville, Beaver Dam, or Maxey's, the increases will be in excess of 100%. How are you going to pay for this increase? These increases will be on top of whatever the insurance company has already decided is going to be their increase for that particular year. If we do become a protection class 10, there are some insurance companies that will not even insure in a protection class 10 area. They will pull out. If this happens to be your current company, what is your solution at that point? Whatever the cost of the cancer disability insurance is, it must be weighed against the potential effect of the insurance increase that's going to affect each and every citizen of this county that has a home, a garage, a shop, an outbuilding, farm structures. It's gonna apply to consumer businesses that have business buildings in our county. It's gonna apply to people who lease those business buildings in our county. How is this gonna affect our growth going forward and the opportunities in our county? If the state does take action and our rates in our county go to a PC10, and if we are fortunate enough to have that action reversed, there will still be initial repercussions from the first rating, as it takes several months to
Get
have
close
it
to being
reversed.
finished here.
Yep. So I ask everyone in this room and on our Oglethorpe County Board of Commissioners, is this what we want to have happen in 2018 in our county? Thank you.
Let me just stress it here. I mean, we typically don't have correspondence here, but you asked a number of questions, but I'll start at one, at a comment that you made early on, and that is that we don't know what we're gonna do. We do know what we're gonna do. And we will not be in violation to the point where our insurance premium will go up. But what we will do, what I recommend that we do is we let states see if they can either fund this thing or provide an exemption. If January 1, 2018 comes to be and we don't have cancer insurance for these volunteer fire departments, then standards and training will be required to give us notice of it and that we're out of certification. We'll have 30 days in addition to the 10 days that we have to respond to get it right. If the legislature doesn't take action by then we'll do what it takes. But people's insurance premiums aren't going to go up. So I think that pretty much answers the remaining questions that I had. So
That's good to know. That's where my concern lied, and it hadn't been addressed yet, if what our plan was.
well, you know,
If we got to that
it would have
point.
been easy to say we're going to do this up front, but I think in doing so, you might have took some legislators off the hook for responding. You know, I think they've heard from a number of you, and I appreciate anybody that's called. I think that you did the right thing in doing so. And I think we need to let them know in the future that anytime they mandate something they don't want to pay for, then they need to hear from us. And if it takes, and I'm sorry you were afraid that was going to happen, but I give you my personal assurance it won't. And, you know, but if it takes people getting a little bit afraid, you know, to get them excited enough to call the people that can make a difference, and that's what we need to do.
No, I agree.
Can I speak?
My name's Russell Rowe. I live in Lake Oglethorpe subdivision, and my concerns are very much what Terry just spoke about. And I apologize in advance for my ignorance, but what would it take to put, maybe have a special election to put a mill rate on funding a fire department, on actually just having a tax base? Because I would almost vote for that. I don't know what the process is or what the procedures are to do that, but I would much rather, if whatever that amount is, because my property tax just went up, my homeowner's insurance just went up. And if my mortgage people call me and you assure me that that's not going to happen, but if they cancel our insurance and they say, we don't want to be part owner in your house, you need to write us a check because your insurance is going to get canceled. That's a concern of mine. It's a sincere concern of mine. And I don't know what the process is to get that, to have the people in the community vote on an additional tax, like a SPLOST. I don't know how they do that, but what would be the process to make that happen? And that's, I have no
Well,
idea.
I think I answered your number 3 question, that nobody's going to call you from the insurance company and say that it's been denied, okay? So, now I think your first couple of questions had to do with the, you know, what would it take to do a fire tax, essentially?
Essentially,
Yeah.
because I do
And
know.
to be honest with you, that was the original idea behind the current funding mechanism for fire departments. Before I took office in 2009, in 2008, I met with the fire departments, and the proposal of a fire tax was actually put out there. And the idea was we'll set it up in these districts, the fire departments will establish these districts, they'll get down together, they'll make out the lines, and the value of the property in there will be assessed, and a levy can be put in each one of those districts for the fire departments to collect whatever they think they need, and they'd have a local committee that could recommend this to the Board of Commissioners, whatever commissioner was in that district, and it would come forward. the problem with that, Russell, was that was in 2008. Well, in 2009, and at the time, each fire department was getting $4,900 a year each. You know, and of course, we could always revert back to that if that's a preferred method. But so we talked about this, but the problem with it is, you know, the election that just took place is going to be 2 more years for a gubernatorial election. That would be 2010. We put it on the ballot. If it's approved in 2011, you do 2012's budget. And so it'd be 4 years, literally 4 years before it could ever take effect, if it took effect. Well, the maximum being proposed was $500,000, you know, and it became clear in the dialogue, in the discussion between myself and others in the fire departments that there probably wouldn't be anybody out there that have less than $500,000. So we just said, for the sake of keeping it simple and making it quick, let's just go with $500,000, and we'll take these districts as they've been divided. Of course, you could still go back to a fire tax, and you could decide inside your district, or the voters could decide inside your district.
What's the process then? I don't.
Well, it'd have to go on a referendum. It'd have to be
Right.
something that'd be adopted by the county.
Do you need
So
signatures?
what we did is we applied the $500,000, and so everybody reached the maximum that they could have under the proposal anyway. So that's currently how it is now. If you want to go higher than $500,000 and go to a fire, you know, a fire district and fire tax, that's fine. I mean, that is one of the things that can be considered. What I would suggest to you, though, is through the association, come up with that plan. You know, I think it was like pulling teeth. I thought I saw Carl, you remember it was like pulling teeth trying to get the process changed to begin with. You know, and I think everybody pretty much was satisfied with it. Now they're entertaining ideas of doing things differently. What we suggested as a board of commissioners is, if the association wants to make a change, then come here, reach consensus among the association, which is not trivial and not easy. But if you can do that, fine, come to us and we'll say, all right, we'll bless it, and then we'll go forward and put it on the agenda. But again, it sounds good, and it sounds nice, but just like that 4-year delay in conception to implementation, there's a lot of devil in the details. And but I would suggest you start with getting the association to come up with that funding mechanism and that process.
This is a fire association? Okay. And I realize y'all didn't make this law, it was a state law that came down, but I think this is just touching on the surface of some of what the non-compliance. I know that their breathing gear, Ed Fry is my neighbor, and their breathing gear, it's outdated. I mean, for them to be in compliance, I don't know how old it can be, but it's older than what it should be.
It's a 10-year expiration on most PPE, and that's personal protective equipment. As far as NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Agency, goes, 10 years.
So there's
But
concern.
a lot of their gear is outdated that needs to be replaced, and the cancer thing just sort of brought all this to the top. I mean, that brought it out, but
You know,
it is a concern.
I really appreciate Stephen's comments. I know people get cancer, and I know that there's risk involved. But in terms of the ability to fight fire, and this is the challenge I would have for standards of training if they did come in here. In terms of ability to fight fire, that cancer insurance policy at $275 a person doesn't do anything to improve your ability to fight fire. You know, and you have concerns, and everybody has those concerns about turnout gear, and certainly I think most of them, you know, understand that there's occupational hazards there, and certainly we all appreciate that and understand that, but I think they'd rather take $275 and put it towards turnout gear. You know, if that was the case. But the other problem is you had, and look, we don't have a direct responsibility to fund that. I mean, the law, our attorney said, it doesn't affect you because we don't have a fire department. We have a bunch of independent fire departments. The people who wrote the bill from Paulding County is based on their experience, like Stephen mentioned also. You know, that these people aren't aware of the challenges we have in rural Georgia. So it's a little bit different story for them. But you know, they've since become aware. Hopefully we'll give us a chance to, or we'll give them a chance, and hopefully they'll fix it. But if they don't, we'll step up. But I think you'd rather see $275 per person going to turnout gear and anything else you might need than you had going to that policy. And mandating it is the big thing too. Just saying, okay.
That's already there, right? Am I mistaken? I mean,
What's
the cancer thing is there. That's been passed. Is that true?
The bill passed. and it goes into effect
So
January
the
1.
275, we just have to figure out a way to get that money.
Well,
or
again,
we'll
we've got a
get
grace period that I mentioned to you earlier. I think we got a minimum of 40 days. They come in here January 1. I think we got a minimum of 40 days to write that check. But in the same time, the session's gonna start, and I think there's some action they can take, and they can stop standards and training from coming in here and citing for that violation. So whether they do or not, I don't know. If they don't, we got a plan B. If they do, great, but let's give them a chance.
And the $275, that's an opening bid. You know, with insurance companies, every year we go up.
It's the bottom bid, it's the lowest bid to date. And another problem I got with it is, right now at least, there's only one certified provider that's.
I agree.
You know, and that's a racket.
I
That's
call
a
it
racket.
monopoly, but it's,
But maybe they fix that too, and they should, but it's just not right. I think if you took the money that for each firefighter in the state of Georgia, and you put it into a pool, forget the insurance company, and then you have a board of trustees that can help designate that money where it goes and who it goes to, you'd be so much better off instead of an insurance company, you know, taking part of the benefits. No,
No, you're fine. I don't disagree with that. I don't.
well, I'm glad you don't, but I agree with it
It's
wholeheartedly.
amazing you can get it for $275, just so you know, that's a solid number. Out
Well,
based on what I
that's from a
checked.
bid from an unqualified vendor, so who knows what it's really gonna cost. But that's just in my opinion, and you know, this is just my opinion, just like everybody here's got one. It's just not the way government ought to operate.
it's,
And I think it's time to
I
hold
feel
our
like
feet
it's
to the
being
fire.
shoved down our throat, and I don't, if whoever.
It's being shoved down
not-
all
not
of our
from y'all,
throats.
I understand, and I'm not here to yell at y'all, I'm trying to look for an avenue, where can we go to not only to get the cancer insurance thing taken care of, but to actually bring our current firefighters up. And I tell you, it's near and dear to my heart, because one Sunday morning I had a faulty temperature switch, and by the time I got my alarms to shut off and quit making noise, the fire department was in my yard. Nothing was wrong, thank God, but I'd hate to think that my house was on fire and there's nobody that's gonna come when the bell rings.
Yeah,
That's a concern
Well,
of mine as a
and
citizen.
it
of this
should be,
county.
and I'm consistent with that, you know, I don't think anybody in here is saying the fire department doesn't do a wonderful job for the community. You know, and that's really not what this is about. If anybody wants to make this issue with that, you know, about that, it's just not right.
If we need to add a tax
Well,
to something to
again,
pay for that, to get them more compliant or to get them
and we're
better
sort-
turnout gear, whatever they gotta have.
We're sort of digressing here, but
I understand, I'm
at the
sorry.
same time, the place to start with that is, if the association wants to change the way we do business there, then fine, reach a consensus among the association, come to us, because I don't want to get in the middle of people who want that and people who don't want that, you know. I'm not going to get in the middle of it.
If we get the association together and they're, who from there would come, do they come here? I mean, I'm sure they know.
You reach a voting consensus among the association members, you know, and I prefer 100%, unanimous consent. But reach an association, come to us with a plan, and we'll look at it and see if it's something that we feel like works in the community, and if it's a fire tax, then okay, we'll go with that. Understanding too, and I think the association would debate this point as well, you can put a fire tax in place too, but your community still controls whether or not you get that fire tax. You know, just because you put it in place doesn't mean it's going to automatically happen. It actually could go down if your community doesn't want to support the fire departments. So think about that one a little bit too.
Okay. Why would they not want to?
Well, you know, obviously you made some good points and you're passionate about your position, but believe me, there are people out there who are opposed to anything.
I understand. But I'm not. I would
I hear
rather,
you.
and
But
she's
I think
my
you- I
insurance
think it'll be
agent, I'd rather
alarming.
give it to the
I think-
fire department.
I think-
No offense.
No, that's where it needs to go.
I'd rather give it to
People
the
that
fire
say
department than to
don't
give it
get
to her.
insurance. That's what I'm
think
trying to
that
say.
I think you'd be alarmed at how many people who just,
No,
you know.
no, I was a deacon on the church board once. So
All right,
you would think that they could come to some kind of conclusion. I apologize, I was way past my 3 minutes.
you're ready for politics.
I just think I'm arguing over the color of the carpet.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, did anybody else have any questions? I hated it. I mean, we done sort of opened this up before we broke.
Well, if no further comments, I just asked you a question. Well, another.
Well, let's just see if there's any further comments.
I want to make a comment. I'm not going to go into a whole lot. My name is Trina Gaither. I'm also from the Lake Oglethorpe community. I just want to say that watching all the natural disasters, especially fires, and I may start crying because it's very scary to watch all these fires, North Georgia, Tennessee, watching footage of people fleeing for their lives. And we have volunteers. That is our line of defense. We have pastures. We have hay fields. We have woods. And we have dry periods. I get chills thinking about all of these things lining up to a point where all we have is volunteers. And they're not being supported, in my opinion, like they should be. I just hope everybody that can do anything in our government, locally, will think long and hard, because it's more than just your home, it's your neighborhoods, it's your whole towns, I mean, look at California, what's going on. And these people, if they didn't have, I mean, look at the sport they have, look at the equipment they have. They are seasoned fighters. They've been doing this forever. They have lost so many lives on, it's distressing, and I'm just saying maybe we should reprioritize where our money goes and what we spend our money on. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, again, I think the fire tax is obviously, I thought it was a great idea at one point, and I still think it's a pretty good idea. Pulling it off is another thing. But understand, you will realize then who's in support and who ain't, you know. That gives you opportunity to figure that out. So,
Now, we do have the Georgia Forestry Commission in this county that fights forest fires, just to let you know.
I understand that.
And fires in this
It's a
area,
large county.
and fires in
You
this
got-
area will not be like California brush fires. No,
Okay.
it will not.
And it won't be like in Tennessee or North Georgia either, huh?
Probably not.
No, we're gonna be different, okay. Well,
We've had some pretty big fires down here. The fires typically don't get out of control and get up into trees and what have you. They burn along the ground. And I've seen our Forest Service handle some pretty good fires.
well, serving in the military, we have to be prepared for things.
Ma'am?
I served in the military, and we were taught to prepare. When you see things that are changing, and things are changing, then you try to get prepared. And it's not something you can do overnight. These people need training, they need equipment, they need to be supported. And that was my only point.
Well, I think if you were to ask our Forest Service, that they will tell you that they are trained and prepared.
And
Now,
supported.
the local firefighters, yes, I think they are lacking some equipment, and I hope we can find some ways to help them with that.
I do too, that was my point.
But the whole world burning up, as you suggest, is...
I did not suggest the whole world was gonna burn up, and that's nothing to be smart about.
No, I'm not being smart about it. I'm a
You have a
landowner.
smirk on your face.
I'm a landowner myself.
Okay.
And I just think that right there can be controlled by our local Forest Service. I'm sorry if I offended you. That wasn't my intention.
As large as this county is, these volunteer fire departments, they may be in a closer proximity to a fire and get it put in control before it gets out of control, is my point. So I think that everybody needs to be supported in that, in firefighting. And just reading in the paper about all of these different things like the insurance and, you know, just the lack of support, it seems. You know, they're already overburdened and they're volunteers. It seems distressing to me, but I just felt like I needed to come and say something, but
Yes, ma'am.
take it for what it's worth.
Anybody else? George, you had something?
Would another half a mil cover it if we chose to go that route?
Cover what?
The cancer insurance.
Yeah.
They get a half a mil now if we raise taxes, a half a mil, give the fire department for that. Would that be enough?
To answer the question, yeah, it will be enough.
That's my question. I just want to have the public to know though.
Mr. Pitter?
When you start talking about TAX, everybody run their eyes.
Well, again, I like the fire tax. You can vote for it in your district if you want to.
Well, as a former fire chief, I like the way we've got it now. But as the insurance lady says, Terry said, we might have to raise taxes to stay in compliance if the state don't give us some kind of break. But I think the way we're going at it now, fighting the state is the best way to do it.
To give you an idea, George, the mill is worth about $370,000,
Okay.
which is 10 times more than what it would take to stroke a check for the insurance. So 0.1 mil would actually take, 0.05 mils would actually take care of it. But I agree, and I think I've tried to articulate that to Russell earlier, some people are okay with taxes, and not everybody is.
I hate it.
Trying to come up with the right solution. All I know, you know what the challenges are there. You've been in it for a long time. You've seen it.
It'll be cheaper to pay tax than it will be to pay your insurance, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think we've established that, and we know that that's gonna happen, but, again, when you start talking about increasing taxes a half a mil or a mil or whatever, but not every community is the same either. I think you know that from being in the fire departments too, Carl.
Well, I'm gonna put my input in this. I didn't come to say anything. The county's growing, that's just like tonight, you sit right here and these people talking about building this subdivision. I agree with y'all. We've got the Georgia Forest Commission. We had a fire started by a motor patrol on the Sandy Cross Road, burnt 350 acres. It took 2.5 days to control it with the forest. Our concern is not the forest. Our concern is the public's homes. That's what we're protecting. We do not have the equipment. We do not have the manpower. Nobody wants to join these departments. We don't have anything to give them. I mean,
Expired gear.
we just don't have anything to give them. And it takes all we get to make it. And then everybody says, well, have barbecues. Well, do y'all want to come cook barbecues every Saturday? No, y'all don't want to do that. Nobody else wants to do it. Everybody's got families, grandkids. Y'all want to be with y'all's grandkids, but you want the firemen out here to cook barbecues and slave to make money.
Well, you putting words on my mouth now, Carl.
Well, I'm just telling you like it works. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what we're talking about.
Billy, you said you had a family, he's got a family too. He don't hardly miss a night that he don't go to that fire department.
And we appreciate that.
No, you don't. You really don't.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. I've read just different places about the counties get a certain amount of money. I'm not sure from where, so I'm asking from a point of ignorance. If the state gives counties money for the fire,
No.
so you get nothing back from anything to do with fire departments or the
I
fire?
think what you suggested is an insurance premium tax.
Okay, so I didn't know what it was
No,
called.
it's not fire tax, it's insurance premium tax. And the insurance premium tax is 1% levied on every insurance policy you have. It comes back to the county. Part of which can be used for fire departments. In fact, 100% of the funding that we spend on our fire departments comes from that tax.
Is that not labeled a fire tax thing?
No.
Okay. I thought we received a fire tax, labeled fire tax, which my studying was about $734,000 combined per each.
There's a lot of things that can be used on fire, it's one of them, but it's the
Well, I
insurance
know
premium.
sidewalks, street lights, that's what I read about, I just didn't know the proper name.
About how
Maybe
much
that's
is that
Ms.
in our county?
Excuse me.
Sorry, Ms. Conlon.
I just
So what I'm
wondered,
telling
is it
you
used
is,
for fire?
pardon?
I didn't know, is this whatever the terminology is?
And
Is it used for
it's not
fires?
designated for that purpose or that purpose only. If it is used for one of the purposes that it's designed for, or that it can be used for, fine, anything left over, it's simply logged as an insurance premium rollback. It's called a rollback, and that's what we indicate on our, so anything left over, you roll the taxes back. Now, if you were to take some more of that money, if you increase the funding to the fire departments, which it would come from there, you'd still have to make that up with tax. I mean, so it's not like there's pot of free money out there sitting, you know, to be used for this purpose, and, you know, it's
So
just
it
not.
goes in the general budget? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
And indicated as a rollback.
We get, what, about 33% of that run the fire departments a year?
I don't know what the percentage of it is. It's a half a meal, whatever we have.
33%.
How much is a meal, just for my,
How much is a meal?
yes, sir.
Like I told them before, this year it's about $370,000. That's gonna be different in every county depending on the digest, the size of all the properties. But in our county, it's about $370,000
For a half meal.
for a meal.
For a meal.
Anybody else? Anybody here? On board?
No, the insurance companies don't.
Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, aye.